What types of things should businesses be thinking about, especially when they're structuring a compensation package?
Yeah, I think everybody wants to attract and retain the best employees without having to overpay. And I think in order to do this effectively, you need to understand what's required not only from a regulatory standpoint, but also from a cultural standpoint. I think Europe is a really good example of that in that there's a lot of government-run healthcare. In many countries, it's sufficient, but in others, it lacks in certain areas. So employers are going to expect that you're going to give them supplemental health. Another example of a regulatory standpoint is stock options. They're very popular here in the U.S. And is considered part of any package, but they're handled. Every country handles them differently when you go overseas. UK, for instance, you need to have an employee sign what's called a joint election waiver. Otherwise, if you don't, when they exercise those options, the company will be responsible for paying the taxes. Whereas if you get them to sign the waiver, they agree to be responsible for their own taxes. And the important thing to remember there is you have to do that as you're signing them up, because a lot of times what we've seen is once they come on board and you try to get them to sign it, they're not as inclined to do so. Belgium is another example where in Belgium you're taxed upon the receipt of the options, not when you exercise them. So they don't always carry as much weight in a country like that. I think, and then from a cultural standpoint, I think France is a great example of both regulatory and cultural, because you have to deal with both French law as well as collective bargaining agreements, and depending upon your company, your business, and the level of the person is where they go into that collective bargaining agreement. And in France, titles are very important. It's a status thing. Italy's another example where status can be important. Depending upon the level of employee, they expect that you're going to offer them a company car.